Just look at the amazing paint jobs on these Amiga cases. Slap one of those in. Oh look, there's that purple case again. Still tempted. Chris White, he of Amiga Outrun fame. Stoo Cambridge. This is a redesigned GoDrive. Hello, Yawning Angel here with another video and a cup of tea in a suitably Halloween themed mug, although this is a little bit late, having missed Halloween by a few days. Anyway, this video is really just about an overview of the Workbench 2025 event, which took place on October the 25th in Chipping Sodbury near Bristol here in England. This event happens every year and is organised by the amazing folks at South West Amiga Group. For anyone who can remember, last year's event I attended and I gave a talk on Amos there, and there's a link to that video up here. It was a lot of fun and I really enjoyed it. So when I was asked about a week before this event, Keith, can you do some filming? I was happy to be asked, but I wasn't sure whether I'd be able to manage to do my best work there. So I gave it a go, and what we've got here is a bit of a summary overview of the event as it took place. I didn't get the best footage that I would have wanted, basically because mistakes were made in some areas. I took the wrong microphone along. And also, I tried to make use of this stupid gimbal again with my iPhone, and anyone who saw me using this at Retrofest this year will attest to the fact it's not the greatest of gimbals in the world. Yes, Mr. Andy of HBR fame will be able to attest to that. But with the footage I captured, I've managed to pull a video of sorts together. So why don't you grab a brew in your favourite mug, sit down and watch it for the next 20 minutes or so and see what you think. It was an enjoyable event and I really can't wait to attend again next year. Thanks once again to the organisers of Workbench 2025. You guys did a great job. Here we are then, making our way into Doddington Parish Hall, the location of Workbench 25 and where all the South West Amiga Group meets take place in this area. So this is just literally as people have just started to set up here. Oh look, there's Hoffman over there on the far side. So yeah, people just setting up their kit and getting things running on their Amigas. Some people putting their hardware together, setting up their stalls for the day. Everyone just sort of chilling out, greeting each other, catching up with old friends. Here's an A500 running R-Type, I believe. That looks like R-Type. Very nice indeed. Great speaker system there. More people chatting, straight into the games. We've got a Vectrex here. And I was drawn to this rather natty red and black Amiga. Look at that, that's lovely. Yeah, I did like that machine. And if that is your machine, sir, and you're watching this, that is very, very nice indeed. Another walkthrough a bit later on. People starting to gather at the far end now where the talks will take place. People getting ready there for the first talk. And as we pan round, this area here is where I think it's Seb and Scott will be doing recapping on Amigas during the course of the day. And oh, look at these lovely purple A1200.NET cases. Very nice. Coming into the back room then, and yes, that is Stoo Cambridge. Stu was there with Tony Warriner, and they were showing off Urbex Warriors. The Lost City is their game for the Spectrum Next, and there is an Amiga AGA version as well, as you can see there, which it did actually look very nice, and when it was being played, it looked pretty cool. Very much work in progress there. But there'll be a link in the description down below where you can go and find out more about Urbex Warriors and find out how you can get hold of it. Stu also had his development machine that he worked on back in the day at Sensible Software which was nice to see. Also, he had quite a number of his pixel art canvases here on display, and I must say these are absolutely lovely. The print quality on these is really quite superb and reasonably priced as well, and you know they'd look great on anybody's wall. Yawning Angel, do you have any? No, I don't, because I don't have any wall space in my retro room anymore for these, but if I did, I would be getting one of these canvases because I think they look amazing. Obviously Stu, very, very talented in this area, and as with all of his material, it's of good quality. You know, there's nothing shoddy here at all. So I don't know if it comes up on camera, but the quality on this A500 print, I just stood looking at this for ages. It's really, really nice. You know, some of these canvases that you get will fade over time and look a bit rubbish, but this, the colours just popped. And there was, you know, the print quality is really good, is what I'm trying to say here. And I just hope on camera the detail can be seen on this. Definitely very, very nice. And of course here the obligatory details on where you can get hold of Stoo's work. I'll put a link in the video description down below. And of course there was time to grab a quick selfie with Stoo as well. Nice! Chance to look around the rest of the room now. Here's a couple of Amigas with some Checkmate monitors. Walking down in the corner there, it's Ian from Addict Media. Ian, who is Amiga Addict editor. So Pixel Addict magazines on display with Amiga Addict and all the other Addict magazines. Merchandise as well. Great to see them here as always. Over in the corner, Amiga kit with their A600 GS on display. They did a talk on this, which I kind of missed, so sorry about that. But, you know, great little machine if that is your thing. Making my way back into the main hall, I just had to walk past this purple A1200.NET case again. I mean, come on, it just looks so good. And these floppy drives down here, the word grease weasel springs to mind. I'm sure I saw mention of a grease weasel device with these. I don't know, I didn't investigate anymore. Sorry, my bad. And this is the bring and buy table. A lot of goodies on here, a lot of bargains. I think there's a Sinclair QL on there as well. I was tempted, but I just don't have any more space for any more systems. But yeah, some good stuff on here. The main hall pretty much well established now. Everyone's got all their kit in and have set up. Although, as with all these events, there's always room for more hardware to be brought in and changed out. Some of the vendors here then, Retro Rob selling a great collection of retro-themed mugs and bits. Very nice. It was round about now that I fancied a cup of tea, so I started to head my way to the kitchen area. And I must say, the great thing about these events is tea, coffee, water, crisps, biscuits are on tap and free. They're included in the ticket price most of the day, which is fantastic. So heading in here, I was on my tea quest. And there it is, the hot water urn. Fantastic. Just a case of grabbing a cup, checking out, yep, red label tea bags, that'll do. Slap one of those in, get some hot water in there. This will probably be my first cup of tea of the day, so kind of struggling at this point, but it's all about getting a good, decent cup of tea, which I must say, at these events, you definitely can do that. A quick stir, get rid of the spoon, and head back out into the hall, taking care to balance camera and tea and not knock into anyone or spill the tea over anybody's kit. With everything in full swing, time to take a tertiary glance at some more of the retailers and vendors here. Some very interesting coloured C64 and Amiga keycaps down there. Also, a new variant of the GoDrive, and I'll come back to this later on in the video, so make sure you keep watching. just look at the amazing paint jobs on these Amiga cases. Really vibrant, really punchy, and flashing underlighting as well. How cool is that? Love it. The hall in full swing now. That gentleman off to the left in the red jacket is Phil South. We'll come back to him later. The gentleman in the red t-shirt going around handing out cakes is Rob, and these were cakes to celebrate the Amiga's 40th anniversary. Very nice. I actually declined, sadly. Sorry, Rob. Coming up here, hello sir, with a thumbs up. Coming down here, we'll notice that the red Amiga has now become a purple Amiga, and it looks good with those black keycaps, doesn't it? I'm so tempted.
I've had enough sugar already. Have you had a swag cake yet?
I'll pass for now. A bit too much sugar, thanks. Looks nice though.
And over here we have Seb replacing capacitors on Amigas. This happens at all the Workbench events. And of course we've got Scott as well. Oh look, there's that purple case again. Still tempted. Scott there busy replacing some capacitors on an Amiga motherboard. There's always demand for this service at these events, and the guys do a great job in providing that. Now, this part is the interview with Phil South, conducted by Dan there on the right. Now, because of microphone and speaker issues, I did not successfully capture the audio for this. Partially my fault for using the wrong microphones, but also in my defence, the microphones and speakers being used for the interview were just not putting out volume loud enough for microphones to pick up. So I apologise, I don't actually have much of this interview to show, although I could show it and it would just be two grown men mumbling and laughing into some microphones, and you wouldn't be able to make out what they were saying. So sadly I'm going to need to cut this short, but this is just really a record of Phil South was there talking about his work in various retro magazines through the years, and also the books he has written, one of them being Mastering Amiga Amos, which I have and make use of. So it was a good interview if you could hear it, but sadly my microphones did not pick it up. Thankfully I did manage to get Phil to sign my copy of Mastering Amiga Amos, so thank you so much Phil in doing that for me.
Lovely.
Another guest speaker at Workbench 2025 was Chris White, he of Amiga Outrun fame, and we can check out some of his talk right now.
Right, okay, I'll try and be as loud as possible, but my voice is kind of going. I've got a bit of a cold, so if I start croaking or coughing, sorry about that. I'm going to talk for about 25 minutes, and then at the end we'll do questions, or there could be an awkward silence, like depending on how this goes. So, just a bit about me. Like, I've worked in the games industry maybe for 25 years, but only 5 years as a programmer. Probably some of the more interesting titles I worked on for Amiga fans were some of the early Nokia ports to mobile phones, and I did like Speedball 2, we oversaw like Lemmings and things like that. So yeah, I had a bit of experience actually converting 68,000 code in the early part of my career, but after that, for better or worse, I moved more into production and management. So they obviously decided my programming skills were not really what they should be, and I was in charge of other programmers. So there we go. So how did I get to doing Outrun on the Amiga? Well, actually, I've had a sort of a long fascination with Outrun over the years, and when I was sort of in my 20s, I decompiled the arcade source code line by line to figure out how it worked, because I was kind of curious, how does this game work under the hood? I had an arcade machine that I bought in the mid-90s, much to my parents' annoyance when it turned up and landed in their garage. So one of the first Outrun projects I did was an enhanced version for the arcade machine, It did high score saving on the battery backup RAM, introduced a proper free play mode. It had many different like high score options. I was trying to extend the life of the game really. So that was kind of a hack, if you like, of the original game code. Probably the first one I released. And that brings us, I guess, to the Amiga edition, and this kind of began, I was up in my loft, and I kind of found my Amiga 1200, and I got it down, and it worked, and it got me back into sort of like looking at what's going on in the Amiga scene, and it was like, oh, there's so much cool stuff happening. There's loads of really great tools that can help you code, there's loads of new projects, there's loads of new hardware, so I started tinkering around, and after a while I was like, hey, you know, like, everyone has always been really sad about the conversion of the Outrun to the Amiga, so maybe I should have a go, given I've got the 68,000 code of trying to get it running. And I didn't know whether I was going to finish the project at the time. It was just, you know, let's see how we can get on, let's have a bit of fun. But I started porting that 68,000 code over, getting it running on the Amiga, and that was kind of how it all began, really. So, you know, I was just like, let's do this, it'll be fun. So anyway, I started that back in 2023, and kind of my goals were, like, I'm a complete, as you can probably tell, Outrun nutcase, so I really wanted Outrun, the proper original version running. I didn't want like my interpretation of it, where I'd made my own version. There's enough conversions already out there, so I wanted, number one, the original 68,000 code running on the Amiga, same as the arcade machine, so it played identically. I kind of wanted it to be graphically identical, so I wanted sprite scaling in real time, and I kind of wanted it playable on the hardware that I had, which was my 1200 with a Terrible Fire 030 card. So they were sort of like my personal goals when I started this. But there's sort of another phase that I'm going to do with the music as well, and that's I'm actually remastering this in Ableton, doing a bit of EQ on it, and I'm going to do a vinyl release with the music on. It's got original artwork on the cover, which I had commissioned by an artist I worked with. It's on my t-shirt. I do have some t-shirts for sale if anyone wants a lovely Outrun t-shirt with original art, but the lead time on vinyl takes absolutely ages, so that's probably not going to be ready till well into next year, but you can get a t-shirt today, so there we are. So that's super quick. I wanted to leave a bit of time for questions. But there we go, that's in a nutshell some of the work I did towards Outrun. So thank you, and let me know if you have any questions.
And really pushed it further than we did on the original game. Same with like Sensible World Soccer. I mean, that on an AGA machine would have been fantastic. But yeah, I was disappointed with Commodore rather than chipset. You know, I think the AGA chipset's fantastic, but it was too late. It was too late.
I was just thinking, when you saw the CD32s when they came out, did you think that was too late, or I think you both produced games for
yeah, when we were doing Beneath the Sky, the story was we kind of, the whole thing was done on a shoestring, basically ran out of money. Virgin Interactive had this clever plan, doing a deal with Commodore for the CD32 version, which was going to be voiced. So they did that deal with Commodore, got a bit of money, gave us that money, which we then spent finishing the basic Beneath the Sky.
Remember the GoDrives I mentioned earlier in the video? Well, this is it. This is a redesigned GoDrive by Digital Retro Bay. Full disclaimer here, I'm not being paid to mention this. I was just so impressed with this product, I really wanted to cover it. Look at that screen, look how slimline it is. And this is the game changer over the original version, which always stood proud on the Amiga case. This is really slim and just fits into the groove at the top of the case really nicely. That display is super pin sharp, and also it's got this little button scroll pad thing which enables you to jog through the files on your USB drive. It is so cool. I was really impressed with this. There'll be a link to Digital Retro Bay's website in the description down below. Flame Lily Retro Store, or Derek as he's commonly known, was there to show off his Alica 1200 ITX form factor motherboards for the Amiga A1200, of course. And I'm not a hardware guy, but these look pretty cool, quite nice there in blue and the purple. Purple, quite a common theme in the Amiga retro community because I guess it looks so damn good. But yeah, these boards looked interesting. Details here then on where you can find Flame Lily Retro Store online. Go and check him out and tell him Yawning Angel sent you. I'm not being paid to promote him, I'm just passing on the information. Eventually it was time for me to go. I needed to leave early anyway, so after saying my goodbyes to everyone, I took one last walk through the hall and made my way home. I just want to say a massive thanks to all the organisers for putting on this event. It's always well attended and it's a lot of fun, and it's great catching up with everybody, saying hello and exchanging news and seeing new kit for Amigas and just seeing what everyone's doing in the scene. So, really looking forward to next year's event now. Keep an eye on the South West Amiga Group website for details. Thanks once again, folks, and I'll see you next year. If you enjoyed this video, here's some others which you may find interesting.